Analyzing Life.
Considering the Answers.
The John Passadino Show.
With guest neurodiversity coach Stephanie Wilson.
I am John Passadino, your host, and my special guest is Stephanie Wilson. I met Stephanie on medium.com and I read her articles, which are, she writes comedy and she writes self-awareness, self-help. And I just felt this, and also looking at her comments, I saw what just a nice person she was and how talented she was. So I became a fan. And then I found out she is a neurodiversity coach. And I was like, wow, that's a whole other thing that I'm very, very interested in. But I didn't know what the term meant right away. I was like, well, that sounds very impressive. Is she a neurologist or whatever? And then I dug back into it and I was like, wow, okay, I could really identify with that. We established that you're a talented writer and you also are a cartoonist.
Yo, I know. It's fun.
It's rare to see that talent today. People are popping out AI stuff.
Mhm. Oh, true. Yeah.
You are a cartoonist. That's amazing. And every article that Stephanie writes has every article, I believe,
Yep.
cartoon. And I'm fascinated with those. I look at those. Wow. And tell me about how you got into the cartoon part of things.
I started drawing these cartoons on a whiteboard in the kitchen every day. And it just evolved over time into, once I started a blog on my website, I said, I want to do cartoons with it. And I had to barter coach. I coach a coach and she coaches me for months to get the courage to put it on my website. Now I can't, because, is this professional enough? Or who puts cartoons on their professional website? And then I can't imagine not having cartoons out there. I have planned. I want to, yeah. No, I'm not. Cartoons and me, we're not leaving each other.
That brings me to the fact that in addition to being a neurodiversity coach, certified, and you'll talk more about that, is you have an MFA
Yay!
in fine arts
Yeah.
from Hunter College, is it?
Yeah. Your neck of the woods.
So that's very impressive. Now, you got your MFA for what reason? Were you going to become a full-time writer? Were you going to become what?
I have my MFA in painting and the visual arts. So I was going to become a very, very famous artist. That's what I was going to become.
You're going to be about 75 years after you're gone. Yeah. My wife has a Van Gogh necklace.
Nice.
Starry Night, and the kids got her a Starry Night diamond painting. She finished that.
Oh, yeah.
When we went to the Van Gogh exhibit, when it was here on Long Island, there was Van Gogh's like little dolls and stuff. I'm like, he doesn't know about this stuff. It's not fair.
Oh, gosh.
He did make a ton of money off of, but whatever. I mean, his name is alive and he's getting credit somehow.
Yeah.
So, okay. But so your MFA helped you down the line, I would say, right? I mean, all this experience with painting and the arts is all melded together with your writing and your drawing and all that stuff. Would you say that?
1,000%. I say all the time that writing is sculpting with words. Like if you've worked with clay, which I did a little because you dabble in all these different things, it's literally constructing an expression with words, which is just the same as constructing an image and all. I imagine the moving, moving picture and
Yeah.
all of it. It's all the same, right? We're taking little by little ideas, carving them, adding them, morphing them, image ideas, word ideas, sound ideas. Yeah.
That's a great definition.
I liked it too when I said, I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
So the MFA and then the writing. When did the blog writing start? How long have you been with Medium? Did it start on your website? Oh, by the way, let me stop a second. Say that Stephanie's website is forsomethingbetter.com, which I love. It so easy to remember. Like a sentence. For something better. Forsomethingbetter.com.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Oh, my friend has a website for somethingbetter.com. It's just so
Yeah.
sucks. But you have your blogs on your website.
I think I'm coming up to the 5-year anniversary of the blog, which is every week on Wednesday. The coaching and the website happened before the blog, so I put the blog on there.
Yeah, let's talk about Medium a little bit. As I shared my screen and I put up one of your, so people can see that
Mhm.
your cartoon, and then you have your blog. And Stephanie, you're an editor on Medium,
Medium.
which is, and other ones also. And she's a fantastic editor. She's very supportive. She, just makes subtle suggestions, never critical. It's always constructive.
There's not too much to edit on your stuff, so
Thank
you're
you.
kind of, yeah, you're easy to edit.
They could be in any leading magazine, like your articles, your comedy articles, or even your Age of Empathy articles. They could be in New York Magazine or whatever,
Nice of you to say.
Time Magazine or whatever. I know there are hundreds of millions of articles out on the web.
Yeah.
But in our little world, we're all finding. Your articles finding are so. I start out my day with them. I tab,
Mm.
I pop on an article as I'm preparing my breakfast. I'm listening
Mm.
to some articles, and they keep me company. Do go to medium.com and check out Stephanie's articles. But in case you're not a member of Medium, the articles, if I'm not mistaken, are also, as I was showing before, on the website. Everybody, repeat the name. You should know it by now. For something better. Everybody got that, right? I hope you were able to say that. Description also. So let me get back to the articles.
Yeah, those are the ones that are on Age of Empathy on Medium, but the ones on Medium they're only on Medium. They're not on my blog.
Okay, thanks for the
So
clarity. But the coaching, I think, is so huge, and especially the neurodiversity aspect of it. And I want you to describe or define neurodiversity in your words before I start blathering out my interpretation. So,
oh,
what is
oh,
neurodivergent, neurodiversity?
well, I suppose you could say it's perhaps it's the line over which a brain would cross
Mm,
where it is enough, it diverges enough from the typical brain structure and patterning and stuff like that. So, neurotypical. So, in other words, to be diagnosed with ADHD, autism, etc., the learning disorders, you need to get a diagnosis. You need to cross a kind of clinical line, the line of behavior, such that they consider your behavior disordered, or such that it makes your life harder or disordered rather than closer to the norm brain situation. So, but yeah, so the diagnoses of ADHD, autism, there's a bunch that will, and the thing is that there's a lot of comorbidity, a lot of co-occurrence of these things, which is goes right along with the presentation I just came out of earlier today. A group of us put it on for other coaches, the combination of autism and ADHD, which is not a diagnosis yet in the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, but we'll see what happens. But the comorbidity is high
So
statistically.
when I thank you for that definition, and as you're saying it, and as I was doing a little research in the background for this show, bells were going off like ding ding, me, ding ding,
Mm.
because the ADHD is there. For me, my fidget spinner, my fidget thing, and anxiety.
Mhm.
I've been diagnosed with generalized anxiety. Is that under the umbrella also?
Anxiety is a comorbidity. It's also like a common occurrence in these diagnoses, so it can be part of it. Yeah.
I remember a neurologist telling me when I was having horrible, horrible panic attacks, because I go through those periods in my life, and I had gone through the gamut of psychologists and whatever, psychotherapy, and I think it was my MD sent me to a neurologist, and he said, "It's the way you're wired." I'll never forget he said that to me.
Oh,
He said, "You're chasing around trying to find a diagnosis." He says, "You're wired this way
mm,
via medication." So
mm.
get that. Um,
Wow, that's great. That would have been a great thing to say in our presentation today. Yeah. Aside from diagnoses, hey, this is how you're wired. And so what can you do? What is the support that you can follow through on?
it took a burden off like a burden off my shoulders to get
Mm,
in this loop of not understanding and beating myself up too.
absolutely.
It's like, what, I tried all the cognitive stuff. I mean, and today, even today, I meditate, I pray, I have little devices that I use, like my little thing here.
Right.
And I say to my wife sometimes, I do everything, yet it's still here. It being some of the things on the list. And it's like, well, that's me. That's how I'm wired. That's this whole, I'm saying what you would do, your definition of neurodiversity. I'm neurodiverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm wired a certain way. Is that a good, does that sound accurate to you?
It does. And can I add a little something? I'll throw this out to you. I try to tell people this. One of the main things that my goal is as a coach is to normalize for the client, especially somebody who's kind of new to the field or new to the scene or not. Let me say new to the scene, meaning they don't know, they haven't learned about it yet, like what you're kind of talking about. Oh, I have this. This is me. That's me. And if I normalize and say, hey, there's lots of it, you have company. Not one, that's the first step. But the second step is, hey, we're wired this way. And so this concept that you're one lazy, passive aggressive, inconsiderate, all this stuff, it's because of how your brain works. And so you're not a moral failure. And past that, let's you and I get together and figure out what we can do. Because you came to me to talk about self-awareness. Let's become self-aware about these things this behavior, these reactions, so that in the moment you build this ability, this skill to notice when these things are happening and then take advantage of skill that that we'll build together so that you can not do it less, do something. Oh, fidget. Like maybe I can play instead of getting all worked up because I'm on this call with John, I can have my little fidget ring, like you're playing with your thing, and then we calm ourselves
Yeah.
and then we can moderate our emotion. And then the other thing I was going to say is if you could, or you don't have to, of course, but when I went to my first CHAD conference, children and adults with ADHD, it's the main educational, professional research organization around ADHD in the United States. And they have professional conferences annually, and they're all around the US. They move around. My first one I went to, I cried because here is my tribe.
Mhm.
And the people that are up there that are Lifetime Achievement Award, big researchers, psychologists, psychiatrists, presenting in these massive presentation halls have ADHD. And you cry and you're like, oh my gosh, I get it. I get it. It's okay. Now, what can I do to make life better? Because I accept, right?
That's a
End of story.
great story. And also, as I'm listening to you, I am, I've been in psychotherapy on and off for a long time. And it depends on what state I'm in. If the major life event can change my path. So I'm
Mm,
talking to somebody, then once I've talked it out, I'm back on the beam, say, I'll stop. But anyway, as you're talking to me, you're talking psychotherapy to me. Sounds like psychotherapy. It sounds like you can be a psychotherapist. So what's the difference between the coaching you do and psychotherapy? Are you able to distinguish the two?
Yeah. Yeah, well, first, yeah, for the most part, and I need to as a coach, but so so coaching is based a bit on positive psychology and behavioral modification ideas, and so this is what I'll say to a new client. So coaching, it doesn't mean we don't deal with emotion in our conversations, because emotion drives everything. So emotions are going to be here. But what we do is we talk about the future and we talk about experimentation. That's how I describe it. And then in therapy, you might start talking about your past, and you will do perspective shifting, which we do for sure. But ours is action oriented. So talk therapy, talking. But we'll talk too. But what we're trying to go for each session is to get this aha moment or light bulb moment based on perspective taking, based on awareness discussion, based on you telling your story and getting your feelings out of your this, that, and the other thing. And then I'll ask, does it have to be this way? What are options? And when you anyway, if you have this kind of aha light bulb moment, I'm trained to feel it, to see it, to hear it, to sense it, right? Then I want to leverage that. We want to leverage that moment, that occurrence in you, that event in you, and say, how can you use that to try something new this week in between sessions? Then you go off and you do that. It's an experiment. And I say, when you come back, the next time we're going to talk about this, and we are scientists collecting data, I say, you could either do what you intended to do, you could have done it twice as much or twice as long, you could have done it halfway and decided to pivot and do something slightly different. You could have totally avoided it knowing that you wanted to do it, or you could have forgotten completely to do it. But all of those scenarios, are equally important and interesting data for us to then discuss and build more self-awareness around that intended act. And then we grow the seed around this act. We're growing skill, we're growing maybe acceptance, self-acceptance, maybe further tweaking the experiment, action thing, whatever. We're going to grow, hey, what was the support that we didn't realize you needed or you didn't realize you needed? So we're going to slowly build the building around this skill, which is what acting, doing something really is. And then you're going to go off and do it again or do the next thing. And so our conversations are really around and want to be around doing stuff, acting, because it's skill building. That's what we do. So
I
they say in the ADHD field, pills don't teach skills. So those stimulants and the different awfully whatever, they don't teach skills. So they're going to give you a tiny pause below consciousness between one neuron popping over to the other one. And in that pause, because we're fast brain, and it slows the brain down, but then you need the skill to be able to take that pause and do something with it and say, okay, you know what? I notice now that I could interrupt this conversation, but I'm going to pause and not do it because I want to not interrupt. But the stimulant, so anyway, blah, 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 blah. But I could geek out on this for hours with you.
I love it. Thank you for that detailed explanation. What I love about it is it has a plan and structure,
Yeah.
if I'm using the right words. Like psychotherapy works a certain way, but it's typically for me, it's been like cognitive behavioral therapy, for example.
Mhm.
It's how did that make you feel? You know? Like I had a little tiff with my wife. She said, "You don't sweep the floor right. How did that make you feel?" it's usually that. I felt like she was kind of like talking down to me. And how did that make you feel? It's like kind of
Mhm.
like, so there's not, and then it's like, there's some advice on, like, there's a term called awfulizing. Don't awfulize something. I don't know
Oh, right, right.
if Wayne Dyer started it or Dr. Albert Ellis, the father
Mhm.
of cognitive behavioral therapy. Like, stop making things awful. Don't go, oh, it's a bad day. It's a horrible day. I'm having such a terrible day. It's
Mhm, mhm.
But you're talking about is different because you're being very specific with trying something and then building on it, if I'm interpreting it right. It's like going out in everyday life and saying, I'm at my desk and with my ADHD, I'll sit here to do a bill and then I'll see a tab open.
Mhm.
Oh, I gotta,
Mhm,
I'm doing 10 other things.
mhm.
Okay, can we do this as an example? Like, you're my coach, and I'm going to give you an example of what happens to me. I just gave you it, but I'm going to say it again. So and this really happens. I have to pay the electric bill today. So let me go to Long Island Lighting Company. I'm just making names up. Go to pay a bill, and I see a tab open. And I go, oh, I got to check that. I got to check my email. Something happens where I got to check. Oh, I was supposed to get an email from somebody. Let me check. Oh, I'm on the email.
Mhm.
And I'll pop over. Oh, they're saying that I need to forward something to someone else. So I got to do that. Oh, I forgot. I was supposed to do something for the theater. Oh, I forgot. I had to check to see if an article I'm editing for someone if they got back to me. Before you know it, I'm all over the place. I didn't pay the bill
Right, right.
often. And then I'm doing all these things at once. So how would you say you're going to develop a plan for me to address that particular issue? What would you say to me? I know you don't have the whole history of me and all that. I'm asking you to do an ad hoc. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I do this. The thing is, so it could be this or it could be that, it could be whatever, right? So one thing that comes to my mind when you're describing that is if so a common like ADHD thing is so we can forget because we might not because so we have a kind of learned response or emotion around the possibility that we'll forget something. Okay. Now we can forget stuff because we will be distracted in the moment. And so we have a history of getting distracted with the next tab and the next website. And we already know that, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget to pay this bill. And oh my gosh, I'm going to forget to do the thing with the theater and whatever. And so that means that propels us to click on the next thing because what if we, right? So in that instance, juggling, I'd be curious around juggling all these different things. And instead of juggling them at the outset, make a structured invention. I use that word a lot that helps you to, let's say, record when you get the theater assignment, whatever you have to do for the theater that you write it down on a list. And so we do a lot of externalizing the brain, taking the brain and enlarging it on paper, on what's the word? Alarm system, on grid. It's okay. Reminder. On Post-it notes. Okay. So I kill many, many trees. I'm visual. So did we talk about this before? Yeah. Right. So,
Yeah.
right. So as soon as we put it on the Post-it note, we calm down a little bit because now our brain over here which is the Post-it note, is taking care of remembering for us. And so that's the theater. And then the other tab that you're going to open up, we already put that on a Post-it note over here. And so then now we can calm down about that. And suddenly we're able to, so now, what are all my Post-it notes here? Okay, let me take this one, pay the bill, the heating, plumbing, whatever, the electricity. Let me just do that. because I have my brain externalized here and I don't have to freak out about clicking on all those other things. That's one scenario that I thought of. The other scenario is just that we love to boing around and go down rabbit holes. So if it's a rabbit hole thing, okay, let me start paying my bill. But oh my gosh, I just got a notification about what's going on in the world. I just got to click on it. All right, that's a different scenario. And we'd go down that path to discover how you could, okay, why don't you, shut down that notification system for the middle of the day or for while you're going to focus on something so that you put yourself in a supported environment for your brain, for our brains, for a distractible brain. So isn't this cool? Isn't this fun? I love it.
Great points, because many great points, because what causes me a great deal of my anxiety is as I'm paying the bill and I see the theater thing or whatever it is, I'm
Yeah.
anxious
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
accomplishing these other tasks.
Yeah.
Cause anxiety. And then the stimulation part, I'll give you an example. You hit it on the head. I think this is what you're saying. I'll just go, okay, I have all these things going on at once that I'm anxious about. I'm gonna pop over to Medium, the bell lit up because somebody made a comment, and that gives me a little dopamine rush,
Dopamine. Yeah.
escaping from it all.
Yeah.
I'm on there. And I know many people do that with social media in general. It's like they're scrolling and scrolling and they're
Right.
and so and then now I'm distracted. I'm on Medium and I'm answering comments and the bill hasn't gotten paid. So and then I'll get my wife, I'll go, did you know the bill wasn't paid? I'm like, ah. Anyway, so this is what I need to work on for sure. And I'll give everybody an example. I start these things and then I put them aside because I jump past them. I'm
Mhm.
gonna make a list. I'll use my Apple reminder thing. I'll use Yellow Pad. I'll use the sticky notes.
Mhm.
Start, and then I'm racing,
Mhm.
jump past them. That's what I do. That's what I call my ADHD. Oh,
John, there's so much to say. What's the oh God, what is it? It's the 4,000 Weeks book. There's so much to say. They talk, the Pomodoro, whatever thing, where you say, okay, I'm gonna focus for a specific period of time, 10 minutes, 15, half an hour, and you can even put an alarm, whatever. I like to add in an environment that's fun or cozy. So I get up really early in the morning. So I go to the kitchen table, have the place to myself. I have my little coffee and it's so cozy. And that's dedicated time just for this for right now, I'm writing a book with Susan Brearley's class. And so that's my fun and no I don't do social, but no news, no whatever, no medium. Okay, no medium, no nothing. But I can do Medium for the rest of the day and the rest of my life, but just that time in the morning. So it's like I make a deal with myself. And the more follow through with that deal, then there's your skill. The next day I'm more apt to do it. Hey, I did it yesterday and I loved how it went. Let me do it again tomorrow. And then slowly you build this habit or this ability or even identity around being able to carve out a small bit of time in a cozy space. I advocate with your cozy snacks. And then you have fun and then you aren't, but the other thing is we read that, who's his name? 4,000 Weeks, hugely famous book, really well known book about, we try to fit in so much into our day, and that just gives you and me, you sound a lot like me, a lot of anxiety and stress. So we're all like, go, 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 go. And that just ramps up our distractibility, our need to like go do the dopamine, all this stuff. When we pare it down and we say, all right, today I'm going to get two main things done in addition to my have to stuff, sessions, meetings, whatever, not 10, just like I say 2, 3, whatever you want to do. And suddenly we calm ourselves down a little, and then we have dedicated focus on that time and on that activity. If you have time left over, have a vacation, which AKA means go on Medium, or et cetera, et cetera. Or once you finish one, have a little vacation, go on Medium, go do whatever the little fun thing, distracting rabbit hole thing is. But these are all the skills, and are we perfect at them? No, but honestly, they really do build. They really do.
So thank you so much. So this is an example of what you do as a coach, correct?
Yeah.
I had signed up for sessions with you. Would you say that's part of like a good
Yeah. It's got a structure. I talk way less, and then I definitely joke. If you are if you're jokeable, if you're apt to joke, then of course I'll put in some jokes there and there.
I just to talk about the
Little humor.
again, I will let me see if I'll flip my screen again and go over to Edge and say on the website, everybody, for somethingbetter.com. Thank you, studio. So if you go to the coaching tab, you'll see what, when, where, how, and more detail of what Stephanie was talking about, some testimonials. And then there's a request info button. So if anybody wanted to get with you to learn more about how they can set up sessions, or do you do like a free
Mhm. Yep.
consultation?
Yeah, sure. Of
Okay.
course.
Okay. So everybody, that's where you would go to the website for somethingbetter.com and go to the coaching tab. And then here are your accreditation credentials. Neurodiversity Coach, Institute for Applied Coaching. And what's CHADD?
Oh, Chad's, I'm just a member. That's the organization, the ADHD organization I was telling you about. ICF is the main coaching federation in the world. So I'm a member of that. And then la la la.
Very impressive. And la la la. She sings too. La la la. And just dovetailing from the into the ADHD resources while we're here on your website, I was going through this resource list, and I told you I found a couple things there, tech and gadgets.
Mm,
Followed that trail somewhere in here,
mhm.
found that people were using the things that I use. So check out these resources too if you're a person with ADHD or think you might have or have children with it or whatever.
Mm,
On that info, I'm telling the people out there
mm.
that this is a great resource tab. And would you like to say anything else about it? Because I'm doing all the talking here.
No, this is so nice of you to talk about all this. Yeah. The more we, get the word out, get the knowledge out, um, the more we can help people. So my niche is high school, college, and post-college. I would love if I could get them to see themselves, in a positive light, and then of course leverage their strengths, which they have, sooner rather than later. I feel like my work is done here, right? So yeah, it's very purposeful doing this, helping, right, in some way. Um, it's like a personal mission.
That's beautiful. And I have to tell you that I say this often is I say or lately because I'm at that stage of life where I'm getting more reflective.
Mm.
I the when I went to grammar school, I went to a very strict Catholic grammar school. Everybody was thrown into the class, and basically, if you were behind on math, it was like they swatted a stick on your desk and go, "Pay attention."
Mm.
And then I go home and say, Dad, can you help me with math? And he would go, this goes into this goes into that, this goes into this goes into that. And he's using the old, like weird math. And I'm like, I'm lost. The TV set's on. I'm looking at the TV set.
Oh,
Gilligan's Island is on. I'm watching like a show. And he's like, are you paying attention? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm paying attention. And I'm like, just keep completing the problems, Dad, while I look. That's what I'm saying to myself. He's doing this. And I go into school the next day and I have all the problems complete because my father did them and I have no idea. So that's number one. That's grammar school. So the point was if I had nothing to help me, then nobody helped me at all. Nobody read. It was all internal, like, I'm drowning.
mm.
And then ninth grade, it was worse. It got worse. I went to first year was Catholic high school, and it was all boys on one side, all girls on the other, and it was brothers instead of nuns, and the brothers were even rougher. The classroom sizes were big. Nobody cared. I was lost. I fell behind, and then I went to public high school. I was so sad. Must tell you, we moved. I was lost. I had ADD. I had anxiety. There was never any help. And I'm not crying about it now. I'm just saying to emphasize how great it is that there are
Mm.
courses like you today and everybody else that's doing what you're doing. Because I I don't know where I tell you, I'm not going to say I would have been a millionaire today or I would have been a movie star. No, no, no. But I would have been less anxious.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Mhm.
I would have not have suffered as much.
Mm.
And if that at a minimum, you're helping people to not feel terrible. You're a saint.
I hope so. I hope that's what's happening. I
I,
hope.
I mean, I mean, my son was inclusion. My son, my 32-year-old son, he'd kill me if he knew I was talking about him. But I'll say all good stuff is that he had these issues too. And we had him in, actually, we're very fortunate when we moved out to the suburbs of Long Island and they had people coming to the house when he was like 3 or 4 years old. He had speech, occupational therapy, speech. I said speech right? Occupational
Mm.
therapy, and something else. He had 4 people visiting him, and then once he went in, he went into his a different school, like a special school, and then he had inclusion
Mm.
along the entire path.
Mm.
And people said to us, don't keep him in inclusion. Don't put him in special ed. He'll never come out of it. He'll never function because they're helping him too much. And we were like, yeah, okay. Well, he ended up graduating college because he had that foundation. They
That's right.
confidence. They made him feel like he was okay. So,
That's great.
a huge advocate of all this. And you know what's amazing too
Mm.
is revisiting it for by discovering you in your articles, which are very entertaining, medium.com, Stephanie Wilson, for the plug, and on the website. Everybody, what is it again? I'm not going to say it again. I'm like the nun. I'm going to slap you if you don't know the website,
Mm.
somethingbetter.com. Is, as I said earlier, and that's where we'll start coming toward the end of the show, is that I didn't know about neurodiversity. It went right over my head.
Mm.
And me seeing this again, I'm pointing at the website, by the way.
Mm.
I'm seeing neurodiversity, and it kind of got me into going to your tabs, looking at resources,
Mm.
think back on what we did for my son Johnny, which was the right thing, and realizing all along this is who he has been. We love him so much we forgot really. It was just like a normal thing. This is what we do. He's an inclusion. We
Mm.
he was anything different than he was any different than any other kid. We treated him like any other kid. But now I'm realizing what we did was we were so fortunate to be able to do that for him.
Yeah.
I think that really helped him. He's a happy person today. And it's helping me now because now I'm revisiting all this stuff for me today. I'm going to pay that bill. I'm going to pay that electric bill. I'm writing it.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, John.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Oh, go for it.
I'll be on Slack later. Stephanie, what did I say I was going to do before on the show? Did I?
Yeah, should we check? Let's check in via text later on tonight. Accountability.
We just take another quick look because we've covered lots of material and really interesting stuff too. We talked about ADHD resources, the coaching, the cartoon blog, your writing in ADD Attitude Magazine, ADD, capital ADDITUDE. So you have some articles out there. That's on the website also. I would suggest, just based on my interaction with you, that you're an incredible coach, and I hope people reach out to you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love my clients. Every single one of them. I'll say that every day. Period. I guess I can say it, but I say it and it's true.
I believe it. I,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn also. I did go out to your LinkedInville. I know we're all on and off LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn too, and it's good for certain things and other things, but if,
I don't do too much with it.
yeah, I mean, it's there in case
Yeah.
people
It's there.
connect with you, in case they're doing this stuff themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The website is the main thing, and I know they can contact you through it for further information. Um, so I think we've covered all the important stuff, and I had fun.
Me too. You're fun. You're funny.
I'm laughing, and I felt very comfortable talking to you, and I got a free psychotherapy set. Well, I shouldn't call it psychotherapy. I got a free coaching session, I'll call it. Wait, are you not going to bill me, are you?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Um, I have to say, I love what you said at the end about your son and you, and yeah, thanks for sharing that. That was really nice. It's nice to hear, and it's nice when um, yeah, we're all. This is a journey. It's a journey of discovery, and the more we discover, that's great, right? It's cool. It's shocking sometimes, but it's cool, but it's good and it's helpful. Blah 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 blah.
Well, I also have to throw in because my ADD mind jumped a little bit, but it's okay because I
Very nice.
was listening very carefully to what you said. But I had to plug my wife also because she was a teacher's aide for
Mm,
20 years for special needs for people who are neurodivergent.
mhm,
And it just like would float by us because I guess because we were close to it,
mm,
realize it that it was there because it was part of our lives. She watches the shows like on Netflix. There are shows. Atypical is a show about
mhm.
children who are teens that were dating that were atypical, and there's another show she watches. But she doesn't talk a lot about it because it was just commonplace for her. It's her job, and she.
Mm,
Oh, I was again. The point is, I've been so close to it, yet
mm,
yet so far.
mm,
I have these issues.
mm.
I'm anxious, and you, but you go, like, you're very hyper. You're very anxious, like, and duh, it all kind of like ties in together with this that we're talking about. What she did, what my son went through, and all the resources available. So there.
Well, you know what I love? Where this landed, this conversation is just, these moments and this journey of greater self-awareness, right? Our whole lives. What we will hope. And I think that's what it's kind of what we just talked about today, and I love it. It's cool.
Great. Well, thank you again, Stephanie Wilson. And this has been the John Passadino Show. Check us out on Spotify, Substack. Oh, I have a newsletter on Substack called Lens of Hopefulness, and it's the self help awareness, all that stuff. So, but I wanted to mention that to anyone who's interested, you can go out there and look. And thank you so much, Stephanie. And I will talk to you. I'll see you out there.
You'll see me out there, and thanks for having me. This was a pleasure. It was really fun. Thanks.
This has been the John Passadino Show.
Streaming on all platforms.
Spread the word.